Welcome to the Book of Wretch, where stories of the macabre and supernatural are told. We ask all of the lost, the damned, and everything in between to join us for yet another spine-chilling tale. With that said, let's begin. In the heart of a dense, forgotten forest stood ancient trees, their gnarled branches entwined like the fingers of ghosts. It was a place where sunlight struggled to pierce the thick canopy, leaving the forest floor in perpetual shadow. Few dared to venture into its depths, for whispers of the past echoed among the trees, and tales of the lost were carried on the wind. Among those who dared was a small group of friends, drawn by the mystery that shrouded these woods. Sarah, adventurous and headstrong, led the way with her best friends, Mark, Emily, and Alex. They wandered deeply into the woods, the leaves crunching beneath their feet, their voices hushed by the solemnity of the place. As they ventured further, the air grew chillier, and an unease settled over them like a shroud. It was then that they stumbled upon it, a well, ancient and weathered, its stone walls covered in moss and ivy. The sight sent a shiver down Sarah's spine, for it seemed out of place, a relic from a forgotten time. Who would build a well in the middle of nowhere? Emily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, but there's something about it. Mark trailed off, his eyes scanning the surrounding trees, as if expecting something to leap out of them. Alex, the skeptic of the group, scoffed. It's just a well, guys. Probably used by some old farmer ages ago. Nothing to be afraid of. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of foreboding that settled in her chest. The well seemed to call to her, its depths whispering secrets that she longed to uncover. That night, as the friends sat around a crackling campfire, the memory of the well lingered in Sarah's mind like a haunting melody. She found herself drawn back to its eerie presence, unable to shake the feeling that it held some dark secret. I think we should go back, she said suddenly, her voice breaking the quiet of the night. Back to the well? Emily asked, her eyes wide with apprehension. Sarah nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. There's something about it. I can't explain it, but I feel like we need to know. Despite their protests, Sarah's friends eventually relented. Swayed by her determination, they made their way back to the well. The forest, alive with unseen whispers that seemed to follow their every step. As they reached the clearing where the well stood, they were greeted by an eerie sight. The air shimmered with an otherworldly glow, and shadows danced along the forest floor like specters. This is crazy, Mark muttered, his voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. But Sarah was undeterred. She approached the well, her hand reaching out to touch the cold stone. As her fingers brushed against its rough surface, a surge of energy coursed through her, and the world seemed to spin. Suddenly, She was no longer in the forest, but standing in a dimly lit chamber, the walls lined with ancient symbols and faded paintings. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, and a sense of unease settled over her like a heavy cloak. "Sarah, are you okay?" Emily's voice cut through the haze, pulling her back to reality. Sarah blinked, finding herself once again in the forest clearing. But something had changed. The well now seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, its dark water stirring as if it was alive. "We need to leave," Alex said, his voice tinged with fear. But it was too late. A figure emerged from the depths of the well, its form twisted and grotesque. It let out a bone-chilling scream, and the friends knew they were in the presence of something beyond their understanding. The figure moved towards them with an unearthly grace, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Sarah could feel its gaze bore into her soul, filling her with a terror unlike anything she had ever known. We shouldn't have come here," Emily stammered, her voice trembling. But Sarah knew there was no escape. The creature spoke in a voice like the rustling leaves, its words ancient and incomprehensible. It spoke of a curse that had lain dormant for centuries, waiting for unsuspecting souls to unleash its wrath. As the friends listened in horror, they realized the truth. The well was not just a forgotten relic, but a prison for an ancient evil. And now, by disturbing its slumber, they had set it free. Panic set in as the creature advanced, its twisted form contorting with malice. Sarah frantically searched her mind for a way to stop it, her thoughts racing with fear and desperation. Then, as if guided by some unseen force, she remembered the ancient symbols lining the chamber walls. With trembling hands, she began to trace them in the air, speaking words she did not understand, but felt deep in her bones. The air crackled with energy, and the creature let out a deafening scream. It writhed in agony, its form dissipating into the shadows from whence it came. For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the sound of the friends' ragged breaths. Then slowly, the world seemed to right itself, the malevolent presence fading into nothingness. As they stood in the clearing, shaken but alive, Sarah knew they had faced something beyond comprehension. The forest around them seemed to sigh with relief, the ancient trees whispering their thanks. But Sarah also knew that the well still held its secrets, and that they had only scratched the surface of its dark history. As they made their way back through the whispering forest, she couldn't shake the feeling that they had awakened something that should have remained hidden. And so, the well in the heart of the forest stood once again in silence, its secrets buried beneath the earth, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to uncover its horrors. Years have passed, but the memory of that fateful night never left Sarah and her friends. They tried to move on with their lives, but the whispers of the forest haunted their dreams, a constant reminder of the darkness they had faced. Sarah, now an adult, found herself drawn back to the forest, time and time again. She searched for answers, for a way to undo the curse they had unwittingly unleashed. But the forest remained silent, its secrets locked away in the depths of the well. And though the friends tried to forget, a lingering fear followed them wherever they went, a reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the trees. And so, the well in the heart of the forest stood as a silent sentinel, its dark waters reflecting the shadows of the past, waiting for the next curious soul to stumble upon its ancient curse. So until next time, I hope you join us when we open the Book of Wretch yet again. But remember, be careful when you enter the mind of a wretched. You may just leave a wretch. Good night and pleasant nightmares.